So my family owns a cabin on a small lake in New Hampshire. We go there every summer. It's basically our home away from home. There are other houses on the lake, quite a few near us, but beyond that it's a pretty rural area. Miles of woods stretch beyond the lake houses, so there's really no reason to be in the area unless you were hunting, own the lake house, or are visiting the lake for whatever reason. So one night, maybe 6 years ago, it was late, probably around midnight. My ex and I were laying in bed just chatting about whatever, when all of a sudden we hear footsteps outside the window. The window lays only about halfway up on the wall to the side of the bed and is situated so that it opens right at the bottom of the bed where our feet are. The ground around my house is covered with a thin layer of pine needles that drop from above, so it's pretty hard to walk quietly. But the footsteps sounded like whatever was making them was doing their best to try not to be heard. They sounded relatively close, but we rationalized to ourselves that they were probably made from some sort of animal. A couple of minutes go by and we hear them again, except this time they seem closer. They seem to be right out the window, still trying to move quietly. At this point, the two of us are starting to get a little freaked out. To our mutual horror, we look down and see a hand slowly coming in through the window. Obviously, we scream and wake up the house. My parents come running out of the adjacent room and we tell them what happened, and my father rationalizes it as the event being a figment of our imagination. To this day, I don't know if he's right. The weird thing is that both my ex and I saw the same thing. So how could it be our imagination? To this day, I feel uneasy staying in that room, and I always make sure to shut the window tight before I go to bed. Alright, so this encounter occurred around 2 years ago. I had just turned 15, mind you that I am a female. It was summer break and I was doing what many teenagers would be doing. Getting high, getting drunk, trespassing on private property, partying, you get the point. At the time, I lived on a main street in the city in a very rough neighborhood. A lot of gang-related activity was common. I never came into problems much though, since I always took the bus home, and the stop that I get off at was directly in front of my house. This summer night, I was coming home late from a party. It was nearly 3 o'clock in the morning and I was getting off the streetcar to transfer over to the bus shelter. I had a specific app on my phone that would let me check when the next bus was coming. So naturally curious of how long my wait was going to be, I then find out that my bus has been delayed. From where I was, my house was about 4 blocks away, which wasn't too far and kind of gave me the assurance that I felt comfortable enough to walk the rest of the way home. Even if anything were to go bad, I had 2 advantages on me. 1, I'm a runner, and a mean runner. I ran 5 miles and still run 5 miles every day. 2, I had my pocket knife on me, which is a form of extreme defense if needed. I started out on foot and made my way towards my house, constantly keeping an eye on my surroundings. As I was getting closer to my house, I got that gut-wrenching feeling in my stomach telling me something was wrong. I'm sure many of you know what the feeling is. I was now at the 3rd block and this feeling was even stronger than before. I didn't really want to continue any farther, but I had no choice. This was my only way home. I was passing these stores and the whole tiny apartments up top. This feeling was now the strongest. I hear a sound getting louder as I'm passing these apartments. Again, extremely paranoid, I observe my entire surroundings until I see it. Directly in one of the apartments up top, curtains wide open, is a sacrifice. I shit you not, a chicken sacrifice was going on. Red and purple lights were shifting around the room and there was a fucking chicken tied by its feet to the ceiling. There was a total of 4 people in a circle-like position gathered around the chicken, all holding hands. They appeared to be painted white, red, purple, yellow, and black like tribal-like designs. I stood there completely astonished at what my eyes were taking in, and that's when the whole vibration changed. The humming came to an abrupt stop. The lights stood frozen, and one of the 4 people snapped his head up so fast I swear he could have had whiplash. His eyes wide but blank, like something more powerful was inside. He dashed over to the window, pressing his palm to the glass and looked down out with his eyes immediately pierced on me, like he knew I was there the whole time. He signaled some sort of gesture at me and licked his lips. That's when I knew it was time to run. It's like he had said, the hunt is on, with just one simple motion. I remember it felt like forever to lift one foot, but when I finally managed to do so, my feet ran me the hell home. My mom usually was up around this time on her computer sitting in the back room with the back door unlocked, which was very useful to me since the front door would take time to get my keys out. I was right. I burst through the back door and there she was on her computer on the couch. I told her everything that had happened and she was already dialing 911. The police did come out and do a report. I gave them the name of the store that it took place above and they said they'd investigate. Turns out when they did inspect the apartment, the main door to enter the unit had been kicked down and the apartment was found vacant except for a few meaningless things scattered about. I really don't know what I saw that night, and I hope to never experience an encounter such as that again. So crazy voodoo tribal dressed chicken sacrificing man, you creep, let's not meet again.